Believe it. Okay.
What's going on, geeks? You're listening to episode 399 of Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name is Cody Armour. I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
Yo.
And Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
This week we're geeking out about Ubisoft finding its fall guy. ThunderCATS, ThunderBOLTS. ThunderBOLTS.
ThunderCATS. ThunderCATS.
And Netflix Geek'd. I would be so down if we had some ThunderCATS news.
That would be sick.
I feel like we've had before,
nice.
but yeah, not right now.
It's been a while. Yeah, but it was like that weird chibi
ThunderCATS
like,
Roar,
ThunderCATS.
which actually got canceled, I heard, I don't know.
And there was a ThunderCATS that I really liked, but I totally missed the boat on it. It was an anime.
Yeah, it was that 2000. I think it was a remake. It was like 2011.
It was pretty good, and it was like hard to find episodes because it was so done with. It did not do well, but it was kind of fun. I'd be down for ThunderCATS. Anyways, this is episode 399. As we said, episode 400 is going to be on Facebook Live at our Geeks Under Grace Facebook page. I think it's facebook.com/Geeks Under Grace. That'll be at 8:30 Central Time. That is 6:30. I always have to do the math. Pacific Time, or 9:30 Eastern, depending on where you live. Not giving you Mountain Time. Got to figure it out yourself. And then after episode 400, we are taking a break, and things will never look the same. And I'm trying to hold in my emotions until next week. But yeah, people are
the other day.
yeah, people are starting to like live life. Life's starting to change for everyone. So really, really exciting and scary and all of those kinds of things. But ultimately, it's a good thing. Everyone should be happy about it. And I think that when the podcast does come back after that episode 400, it'll come back strong. We've got a lot of stuff cooking. So yeah, the other announcement, I'm officially going to Nerd Culture Ministry Summit. So if you are going to the Nerd Culture Ministry Summit, I'll see you there.
Is that the one y'all went to last year?
Yes. Yeah, it was in Austin, Texas. It was in Marble Falls, Texas, which is like just outside of Austin, Texas.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And this year it's in a castle.
Ooh.
In Colorado Springs. Yeah, as of recording this, I don't know how long these rooms will stay, but they have like 3 more rooms in the castle, so you can stay in the castle. Everyone's doing breakfast together, and then they you have the actual event.
That is in fact one of the most coolest things for a Nerd Culture Ministry Summit.
Yeah,
like
I was like, all right, I'm staying in a castle. It's crazy.
Fits. That checks out. That's pretty cool.
But if you never heard of it before, check it out. It's amazing experience. Especially if you create content in the space or you want to create content in the space. Wonderful place to start. And yeah, I'm so stoked to see people there.
That's awesome.
Again, once more. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into the games that we've been playing. I'll just real quick because I don't have a whole lot to say. Ghost of Tsushima, I'm on Act 2. If I would have played it the year that it came out, it would have been my game of the year for sure because it's really good. And that's all I have to add on it. I look really cool now. I got this armor piece that I don't want to give away because it's a story beat, and I have a black straw hat that goes with it. Not supposed to go with it, but it works really well with my outfit.
I love how you can mix and match outfits in that game. It is totally like viable.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah,
I've gotten really ridiculous. I wish that I could do the one thing that it doesn't have that I wish it had would be the like cosmetic to where you could like wear whatever you want without it affecting your stats. You have to like wear whatever armor has a stat connected to it.
Yeah.
But there are these little like emblems. Like, what do they call them? Tokens. Do you know what I'm talking about? They change your stats.
Yes.
I can't remember what they're called, but you can fix like your arm if you're missing something in your stats. You can use these other items to kind of alleviate that a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I've gotten really ridiculous with them. So like, I got over this big battle, and during the battle, so usually I wear the straw hat and I wear this robe, and that's kind of my ghost outfit, or has been. It's changed now. And then I went to big battle, so I got the big like Tankin Tsushima armor, the samurai armor.
Similar. Like if I was exploring and not really doing story stuff, I would go like a Ronin look. And then if I was doing like a big battle in the story mode, I would put on the armor.
The
stuff like that.
outfit loadout option was huge with that upgrade, because I remember because I would literally manually change it every time.
Yeah.
And then with the upgrade, getting the loadouts, it just makes it so much easier, because then you can just have like, your outfit for this.
I haven't actually checked into a loadout. I've been changing it manually. Look.
Yeah, well,
if
you have the upgraded version, which you probably do, I think you do.
yeah.
But that's like, it was like added as part of that. It's super handy.
Tia caught me, just thought it was the most ridiculous, was I got done with a big battle, and so I have it's the Ronin outfit, LJ, but I have one in white.
Yeah.
And so I put that on in a headband, and Tia was like, "What are you wearing now?" And I was like, my wife, for people who don't know. And I was like, it's my like day off attire. It's my, it's chilling at the castle.
My Sabbath robe.
Yeah. I was like, just going to a big battle. I'm here relaxing with my friends. Like, we're chilling.
I'm gonna go find a bath.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
So it's been a lot of fun. It's such a silly tangent about the game, but I'm really enjoying it. I think the gameplay and the story. If PlayStation does anything right, and it's story, some of the best narratives come out of PlayStation, for sure. But that's what I've been playing.
Nice.
What about you, LJ?
I've been playing a few things. First one, I've been playing a lot. So I ended up getting Astrobot last weekend. I didn't really get to play it. My nephew played it before I did. But the Astrobot game is so good. Like, people make the comparisons to like when you play like Mario Galaxy and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
I think it's definitely like that. There's definitely a lot of comparisons to make. Just the love for like the PlayStation, like the history of PlayStation is still there. It plays pretty much just like what was it, Astro's Playroom? Yeah. It's that on a much grander scale. I think I might have mentioned it a little bit last week. There's different planets you get to go to, different like levels. So the idea is you're rescuing all of these other little Astrobots, and some of them, actually a lot of them, are in costumes from all these other games. So there's some that's like you might find like Crash Bandicoot. One is dressed as Crash, or one dressed as like Parappa the Rappa. One mission had a bunch of Metal Gear themed ones, and then they do this thing that I think is pretty cool. I've only done one, so there's like a bonus level at the end of each area, and this one was Ape Escape themed. So you end up getting like an Ape Escape costume, and you get a net, so you actually have to catch the apes from like Ape Escape.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was super fun. I actually played that before the podcast. I was killing time. The other one I really want to try, I saw on
You give me a Parappa the Rappa one.
That would be legit. I don't know how they would do that one, but they make it work. So there's another game that was really, really good on PSP. I think they ended up porting it to like PS4, but there's a game called Loco Roco. Apparently there's a Loco Roco themed level too that looks awesome, and it looks like they just captured the game so well. So I'm curious to see like what else they do with it. It is a really, even if it wasn't connected to like PlayStation stuff, it is a really solid platformer. You just feel so much joy when playing it. Like, you could either go and play a Souls game and like a masochist and play like Black Myth Wukong or whatever, or you could just like play a game like this that is gonna it's gonna just have you grinning ear to ear. It's just like, because I kind of went between the two. Like, I was definitely playing some Wukong, and then I'm like, oh, like Astrobot was a real good buffer. If I was like, okay, I'm gonna chill for a little bit. I really don't want to fight this boss anymore. I'm gonna go play Astrobot. It is a super fun game. Unless you get the deluxe edition, it's actually $10 cheaper. Also, the deluxe edition I think comes with like a few costumes and stuff like that, and the soundtrack and art book and stuff like that. It is a joy if you have any nostalgia for PlayStation, or you're a fan. Like, I highly recommend it. It has got nothing but positive reviews all over like the websites and everything. Like, it's so good. I don't really know what else to say. It's awesome. The other game I'd kind of been getting back. I got back into Call of Duty just because it's a good turn my brain off game, and they usually do pretty good like Halloween themed stuff, and it's about that time of year. So I've been getting into that, just throwing on Spotify. So what I like to do is I've kind of like, I get made fun of at work because they're like, I have a vision disability, and so like I'm sitting here running around the map, like I use melee weapons and knives and stuff like that. And then some of my coworkers are just like, dude, you're insane. Like, why do you gotta be like that? And I'm just like, everybody else is using the meta. I'm just using, like, what... I'll be hitting people with throwing knives or, like, running up behind them and knifing them or doing executions and stuff. And so I made this TikTok a few years ago in one of the games, and I put Halloween music behind it, like, from the movie Halloween. And then I found out they added a Michael Myers skin as, like, the first unlock for the Battle Pass. And so I sent a picture to my coworker. I said, y'all, it's my time. I said, I'm about to be a problem. I'm getting back into it. And, like, so I was like, yes, this is perfect timing for me to get back into it.
Very funny.
Yeah, so it's a good time. That's definitely a good turn my brain off game. And I do want to mention it. I didn't list it here, but it ties into TV stuff. But I have been playing I got back into it, the Attack on Titan video game. It's called Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle. If you have any itch to like immerse yourself in that, not that anyone would want to immerse themselves in like such a like tragic, like depressing like world, but if you're getting that, like, I don't know if the series is actually ended yet, but it's from the makers of like Dynasty Warriors. If you want to like definitely scratch that itch, like if you don't really feel like watching Attack on Titan, rewatching it, the game is definitely a great service to the show. Like, you can actually zip around the maps. I've probably talked about it before. I definitely reviewed it a couple years ago, and it was just fun getting back to. You can zip around the maps on the ODM gear. You actually, if you time it right, you can like definitely do the whole neck slide. You know, like how they kill the Titans and everything. They gamify that in a way of making these like more powerful, like abnormal Titans that have these like glowing spots, like where you can like. You got to make sure you like cut their arms or whatever and like lower that before you can actually like go for the neck. So they have a mode where you make your own character and you basically play alongside, you know, the whole crew. And then they have another mode where you play through. So that goes through seasons 1 through 3. Then they have another mode where you can actually play from the perspective of like the various characters from like throughout the show. So that's kind of cool too. Like, so if you want to play as your favorite character, you can do that too. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's another thing I've been kind of passing the time on too. So that's what I've been playing.
Cool. What about you, Shelley?
Nothing too new for me, although I did hang out with some friends this week and they had Jackbox 9, which I think is the newest Jackbox. I might be wrong, but it's newest that I've played.
9 is insane.
I know there's so many of them, right? It's kind of crazy, but we only played one game on it. It was called, I think, Junktopia, which, not gonna lie, kind of a stupid name. But it was fun because it was kind of like this mix between like TKO and like there's another one where you like sell stuff. I don't remember. TKO is my favorite. So, but basically the idea about this one is that the premise, if you even care, which I don't know why people care, but the premise is that everyone's been turned to a frog. And there's a wizard who's really mean and kind of rude, but he's the only guy who can turn you back to a human. And the only way to do that is to make as much money as possible. And the only way to make money is to buy random crap and then resell it. And you have to like basically resell it with like a fun backstory. Really convoluted. Like
for a Jackbox
my friend was telling me for a Jackbox, it felt very convoluted. I was just like, why is this premise even here? Like, can we not just be selling stuff and trying to make the most money? Why do we have to be like turned into frogs? And why does it have to be inherently magical? Like, I didn't really understand it, but it was fun because it kind of felt like one of the more casual Jackbox games, which are the ones I kind of like. Again, the idea that like you kind of come together and you all are just kind of laughing and having a good time, and there may still be a winner, but it doesn't feel like quite as competitive as like Trivia Murder Party, for example. That one gets kind of cutthroat, literally. So, yeah. But this was fun because you basically buy like really random looking items that look very strange or weird, and you come up with like 2 points of interest about it to try to get people to vote on it. And the more votes you get, the more money you get. But items can sometimes be like you get a couple selection of items to buy, and like obviously like the really interesting ones are going to be more expensive, and the less interesting ones are maybe more vague, you know, hard to sew ones would be cheaper, but you want as much money as possible. So I got really, and again, I think it's a game also very dependent on luck. I won, but I was very lucky because my first item I got, or of the selection of the first round, I saw like, I saw it was like a picture of like the moon, like the two wolves howling, which I'm like, this is so memey and perfect. Like I don't even the joke writes itself, and I said it was because you name it and you make little descriptions for it. So I called it a self-portrait, and I said it's a cell interpretation of inside you, because it's like inside of you there are two wolves.
That's amazing.
Which is pretty funny. And then the second round introduces mystery boxes where you can buy an item for pretty cheap, but it's a mystery. You don't know what it is until you buy it. And so the second one I did the mystery box, and I got 2 little like ceramic bunnies with red eyes.
Oh.
Just like random crap, right? And I called them the Bunbastic Side Eye because one of them kind of looked like it was giving a side eye. And one of my little selling pitches was like, it's the red eyes are said to ward off rude customers, or something.
I love that.
And it's like, fun fact, it's made of teeth. You just gotta say stupid things. And what's cool is that like everybody had some pretty fun little things, because you really do have to like think on the fly with like these weird items. Like, well, how am I gonna make this interesting or funny? And again, I did win, but I feel like it was kind of by luck because the items just like worked really well. But it was fun. I liked it. I had no idea how the rest of the Jackbox games are.
That does sound fun, though. It does sound like a good social game.
Again, yeah, it definitely, it kind of hit a little bit that same itch as TKO does. TKO is a lot more creative, for example, but fun.
That's
and
cool.
I just didn't understand the premise. I was just like, why? This feels too convoluted. Just tell us that we need to make as much money as possible by selling stuff. Like, that's all this is. But anyway, that's it. Yep.
Cool. We'll get into the gaming news then. LJ, what's going on in the gaming world?
Yeah, real quick, I do want to mention, obviously we're not going to be talking about it, the State of Play has already happened as the time of this episode coming out. I feel like I got to do that every time.
So silly. It's like their main point is basically, and I could be wrong, like, but from the post, it's like, an update on 20 games coming soon or already out or whatever. And I just feel like it's like a direct response to everyone, with the PS5 Pro announcement.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a direct response to everyone being like, what do you mean PS5 Pro? There's barely any games for the PS5.
Yeah.
And probably I could be wrong, but to me, that's what it reads like, is them being like, nuh-uh, we have lots of games. Let's show them off.
Yeah,
so
and I feel like it might also be a response to the question of exclusive, like, what franchises do they have left, is because they're remastering. I guess we can also fit this in here. I didn't even have this stuff linked at first, but it's great conversation. They are remastering flipping Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
I don't think that's official.
Is that okay?
I think that's a rumor.
Okay. I need to look.
But
but supposedly
it's messed up.
So there's a chance.
Real.
There's a chance we could find out about this during the State of Play. Like, it may be one of those things that won't be official until like we actually know, like, as of this recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And then that PS5 Pro.
I mean,
like
it's
$700.
Kotaku, so take it with a grain of salt. But ESRB leak confirms Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay, they're pretty. Jason Schreier used to be part of Kotaku, so I think
a leak doesn't confirm anything, but
Polygon's talked about it.
Interesting.
It's definitely became a
very stupid
point, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So.
And not IGN. Yeah, IGN. IGN's.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, so it's.
Jeez. Okay.
So I wouldn't. I guess we can end this with this part to say, like, there's a good chance we'll see that in this State of Play.
Yeah.
If it is true.
That's so.
They did
thinking, man?
They did this the Pro, which is like $700, and then they have the like anniversary editions for everything too.
I mean, legitimately, I've always been thought like PC stuff was silly. Like, PCs are expensive, but if you're buying a $700 console,
so it's like
at that point, save the other $400 to buy your PC.
Yeah, you might as well, because like, I mean, I spent like almost $2,000 on my PC, and in 2017, and it still runs amazing. And it, obviously there's, it's not gonna beefy run some of these new gen stuff, but like it does 90% of everything.
You could get a new PC for about $1,100,
or even upgrade.
You
could even
most of these games.
You can even spend $700 of upgrades, like on your PC or something. Like at that rate.
Yeah, get a new graphics card. I mean, maybe not a super nice graphics card. You can upgrade something, get more storage. You can get more RAM. You can do a lot with $700 for a computer.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. Like, man, it is wild. So
it's wild, and I we don't have to linger on this topic. I just who's this for?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they realize how many people already bought PS5 specifically originally because they wanted to be able to play all these high-end games without a computer.
Yeah. Okay.
And now I just I don't know who this is for.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I think that's where everybody's at with this. I think like, what? Why?
So such a choice.
Yeah. And then I guess we can talk about some other fun and wild news in the gaming world. I guess actually both of these news pieces I definitely could speak on a little closely. I think one of the more wild ones that people are tripping out on is that Cristiano Ronaldo, the famous soccer player, like arguably one of the bigger, like well-known soccer players in the world, not necessarily U.S. because U.S. isn't really that big on soccer. But Cristiano Ronaldo is supposedly, there's a teaser saying like Ronaldo comes to SNK or whatever, and everybody's like, okay, like what's this teaser about? Is he going to be in the next fighting game?
What?
Yeah, which is wild. It's like, okay, they didn't say much. I'm like, you know what though? It doesn't surprise me because like I'm sitting here looking at games like Fortnite, adding celebrities, like not even just like fictional characters anymore. They're adding like icons and, celebrities and stuff like that. Mortal Kombat essentially already does like, oh, here's Arnold as like Terminator, or here's John Cena as Peacemaker and stuff like that, right? Like, and then like they're like,
but is a soccer player being himself? Like he's
so
just gonna kick soccer balls at people. Is that
so there is kind of a like, I guess there is another like, so they've done games where it's like certain fighting games have like sports, certain characters do sports thing. There is a Capcom game that does have a soccer player as a fighter. I feel like it's one of the Rival Schools games actually. So it's like people are looking at that, but and also this could be like a sponsorship thing, because so I guess Ronaldo plays for a Saudi Arabia team now. He's Portuguese. King of Fighters and Fatal Fury, like those SNK fighting games are super big in like all the Latin countries, like really big. Like that's the fighting game, like instead of like Street Fighter most of the time. I've had, people ask me about, like especially like, that my uncle has worked with and stuff like that, just random people that know I play video games. They're like, oh, you heard of King of Fighters, and it's like, and I'm just like, yes, like I love, so it's really neat to see, like, and even like my experience, like just following FGC stuff, like is kind of like, I'm like, oh wow, this is really big, in those countries. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was some kind of legit partnership like that. And then, so, like, being that he plays for Saudi Arabia, also, Saudi Arabia owns, like, a major stake in, like, SNK, I think, now, too. Or something like that. And then that's, like, part of it, where his PR firm is from and stuff like that. So it's, like, this is really, like, promoting within their own, like, company or within their own space as well. But I'm like, okay, so when are we going to get, like, I don't know, some maybe celebrity that's going to be in, like, a Street Fighter game or, like, whatever. Maximilian, I follow a lot of Maximilian Dude stuff. He's like one of the bigger like US like fighting game people who still makes content. He's like, okay, so like we should get like totally like young Mike Tyson in his prime in like Tekken then or something, and I'm like, I'd be down for that. So it's like, because Fortnite already is doing it, I think like that's one way for them to be like, oh, let's get this celebrity or professional sports player in our game. LeBron James is in, mostly because of Space Jam, is in Multiverses, like, so I'm just like, okay, like, this is where we're gonna go, like, alright. It is wild, though. It really is. So, yeah, who knows? It was a vague enough teaser to where nobody still knows. Everybody's just going, what? So, I just thought that was significant enough to throw in here.
Yeah.
Because of the international popularity of the game too, and it is really silly. So, To move into some more silly headlines, this headline says that Assassin's Creed Invictus is going to be an online multiplayer game, and I guess the headline talks about it taking inspiration from Fall Guys.
So silly.
So it's funny because when you read the article, actually, there's like this leaker who's apparently been leaked some major Assassin's Creed stuff in the past. There's a game called Assassin's Creed Invictus coming, and it is supposed to be an online multiplayer game. And so one of the things he talked about is like there's going to be, which I could see this happening. So there's a lot of the points in like the Assassin's Creed games where you end up like racing other, like, you know, you end up like running along the rooftops with other NPCs and stuff. Like first Assassin's Creed 2 is literally like, oh, like you're racing somebody to the top of this, you know, point, whatever, right? But Assassin's Creed has already like had multiplayer stuff, and I think that's where like they're making the Fall Guys comparison from. Is like you're gonna have like multiple characters from the Assassin's Creed universe, where you're gonna have all these different modes. Apparently, stuff like Team Deathmatch, Free for All, and this other like race mode has been mentioned. But if anybody's like me, you remember that Assassin's Creed did have multiplayer modes in the past, which I liked those a lot. They were super fun. There was a lot of things where it's like you could, so you played as a different type of NPC or whatever, like a random character, and there'd be all these other characters that kind of looked like you around the map, and you could blend in and do a lot of Assassin's Creed things. You would have a target that you would have to go hunt and sneak up on, which is totally, you could do this because there are all these like multiplayer games like Among Us and stuff like that, these imposter style like mini game, like multiple games, like what is it, Goose Goose Duck is the other one, which is really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good one.
So I think is if they want to bring that back, which I loved back in the day, like I played a ton of it with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and then they had it in the other two games too, but they ended up getting rid of it after Black Flag, I think. But to me, that is like if those games are actually like really popular, so it's like, okay, if you want to do that again, like let's do it. Like I'm down, like because I love the multiplayer, so like I'd totally be down for whatever this Invictus thing ends up being, but. The idea is it's going to have different locations from the Assassin's Creed universe, different like, you know, locations and cities and stuff, and then different characters from across the universe you'll be able to play as. So like I'm down for it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like this would be something I'm down for just because I've been there before and I really liked it. So if anybody is interested in that, then that's like a well-sourced thing. I usually don't really try to talk about rumors and leaks much, but I'm down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gaming news.
Sweet. We'll get into the movies then. I did not see any movies. But you guys did. Go ahead, Shelley.
Wow. Well, first of all, watched Fellowship on Bilbo's birthday.
Nice.
Pretty fun. Nothing really crazy to say there.
I'm about ready to rewatch that trilogy again pretty soon myself.
Yeah, it's just, it's so good. Everyone knows it, nothing more to say. But it's just, I never actually, like, paid attention to, like, Bilbo's birthday or anything. And the fact that it was also the first day of fall is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
We had a little Bilbo birthday party where we had, like...
That's sweet.
I made some sourdough bread, and we had some roast chicken and vegetables, and we had a little charcuterie board with little jams and cheeses, and we ate like hobbits, and it was awesome.
That's awesome. So cool.
That sounds
very
like a really
fun
good
time. I definitely felt like a hobbit eating all that yummy food. Anyway, and of course we have potatoes too.
That is so cool.
Potatoes and mushrooms and stuff. Yeah, just what a fun excuse to just like eat good food and watch a good movie. But I also did watch a movie I've never seen before called Lady Hawk, and my husband grew up watching this movie. It's from 1985.
Yeah.
And goodness gracious, is it 80s? Not a bad way, but just to be honest, I don't really watch a lot of things from the 80s or consume a lot of content from the 80s.
Yeah.
I know a lot of things like, you know, like Stranger Things, just as an example, that try to like, you know, are references to the 80s or supposed to take place in the 80s, and so they have all these like references or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I get it, right? I'm just like, yeah, this is super, super 80s.
My brother was
because they have like the techno. It takes place in like medieval, almost fantasy, but it's not really fantasy. Wasn't really much of a thing back then, at least for moviescapes goes, but it's like takes place kind of in medieval times. It has the guy from Ferris Bueller, aka Ferris Bueller, It has Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name, but so it has like all these like pretty big people, and I'm just like, kind of surprised I never heard this movie. So it's super interesting because it's some of the main characters. It's like this really interesting sort of like dynamic where it's like this couple who they can never like see each other or touch each other or even really talk to each other because they were cursed. One person is like they're animals. One of them is an animal during the day but a human during the night, and the other one is the other way around where they're a human in the day and an animal at night, which is pretty freaking interesting.
It's like really cheesy, but also would do really well as like an anime plot or something, like a comic plot.
It was awesome, I think. It was really fun. It was super fun, and technically, it was a little bit cheesy, but like the good cheese. It was like it was like the good cheese pizza. It was really like just a really, I don't know, unique concept. I have not seen that concept or dynamic in a relationship in like any other media that I can think of. I just think that's like cool, where it's like not just cursed star-crossed lovers kind of thing. Or you know, lovers that have to, you know, that are separated by one thing or another. It's like technically they're separated, but they're also right there. So it's like, you know, she turns into a hawk in the daytime. That's why it's called like Lady Hawk. And he's a wolf at night. And so they always have to like also like, not only do they not get to see each other or like talk to each other, but they also have to like take care of each other's animal forms because they're animals. Like they have an animal intelligence. They don't really know what they're doing, right? So they're not like druids where it's like wild shape, you get to keep all your intelligence or anything like that. So just a really fun movie that I really liked. It also reminded me a lot of Hunchback of Notre Dame in some ways. Like the bad guy, the base ship, reminds me a lot of Frollo, I think is his name in Hunchback. They're kind of the same character, which he's a very good villain in Hunchback. So that's a compliment. But I just think it was so funny how often it would just like break into the sort of like synthwave techno 80s soundtrack during certain parts of the movie, because it's like it's medieval times. That's so of the era. On horses. They're like they're not jousting, but they're like fighting with swords and stuff. And
that sounds cool.
No, it's really cool. I think it was really fun, and if anyone sounds even a little bit interested, like definitely just watch it, because it is just a pure fun movie and very unique. So I liked it a lot.
Nice.
That's what I watched.
Cool. And then LJ.
Yeah, I started my fall kind of like I usually have like I don't necessarily make a list, but usually there's certain movies like I definitely watch, you know, fall movies and spooky movies. I decided to start this season with Coco.
Oh heck yeah!
I forgot why or what gave me
the
I forgot what gave me the idea or why, but I knew I had wanted to watch it, and movie. So it was like Thursday or Friday or something, and I was like, oh, I'm not really doing anything, like, and then so I just, you know, put on the movie and just relaxed, and it had been a while since I feel like I've been able to just do that and enjoy it. But it was good to go back to. I hadn't seen it in a while. Just again, the culture and just like how much like I can relate to that, and just like growing up around, you know, Mexican families and stuff like that, and you know, all the like lingo and just, you know, the word phrases and things that I'm like, yep, definitely relate to that. Like it's, you know, semi part of my childhood. So yeah, it was so good. It's. Even the music too was just really good to go back to. Was a big thing for me. Yeah, so if you're looking, I'd say definitely like this is one of those movies like there's definitely people who probably don't want to watch scary movies or horror movies. But this is one of those movies you can definitely get those fall vibes from you know, just by watching it. Like just because it's Halloween doesn't mean you necessarily have to watch a horror movie. You can watch stuff like this and still feel those same feelings, I think. So Yeah, I don't know what
such a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm probably gonna watch next. I haven't really decided, but yeah, my fall watch has started beginning. So yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Cool. And Shelley, what's going on in the movie?
So let's talk about the, in my opinion, less interesting thing first. Sorry. Sorry, Gladiator fans. There's a new Gladiator 2 trailer.
Well, I think people would agree
I
with
just never
you,
watched Gladiator 1. Nothing.
I'm
No offense to
excited.
Gladiator fans. I just think it's funny seeing. It's just. I mean, this is the case with any trailer ever. It's always fun.
It looks
seeing
like a fun movie, but
actors
not
you know
because
and
it's a
just,
Gladiator movie. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. It
Like-
looks pretty crazy.
The first
Boats
Gladiator
in the
was-
Coliseum. I'm sold.
I'm
Mhm.
just saying the first Gladiator wasn't necessarily good just because it had Gladiator fight scenes in it. You know, like I mean that
Mhm.
was definitely a part of it, but it's just one of those things. It's like it looks like a fun movie, but not because it has that name. Like you could literally give it any other name and it'd probably still look fun.
No, definitely looks fun. I'll give it that. Looks fun. Looks kind of violent. Just dudes fighting, man. Dude, they're fighting. They're in the Coliseum. There's monkeys there.
Yeah,
There's lions there. There's all these things. They're all fighting, man.
They
and
definitely go
they
bigger.
got to. You gotta bring glory to their name, man. And it's Rome, man. I don't know. The vibes are there.
Yeah.
Those vibes, they have it. So that's pretty cool. And Denzel Washington's in it, so it's probably a good movie.
Watch the first
Yeah,
one.
that's kind of
definitely.
And Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Pascal.
Pedro Pascal's also in it. And
He doesn't
what's
seem to
his
have
face?
a child in this.
Joseph Quinn's also in it. I think that's his name from Stranger Things
Yep,
season
yep,
4. He's
Joseph
also
Quinn,
in it.
yeah.
It's kind of fun
Yeah.
seeing him. I'm like,
Also-
good, thank goodness. Get other roles, man. Like,
AKA Human Torch.
Yeah.
Joseph Quinn is playing Human Torch, so.
I forgot he
Yeah.
was also, yeah. So I want
Will
him
it
to
be a
get
bad
stuff.
movie because Pedro Pascal is not raising a child?
Maybe he is. You don't know.
That's true.
I mean, he
We
could
need
have
a
a hidden
little-
kid somewhere.
You got a little Roman
Those
running
movies.
around.
Pedro Pascal is he's eating so good. I just think he's
Yeah.
in such all these like big movies. Like I mean, props to him though. He's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I remember
he's
there were
an
rumors.
actor of this generation, one of the actors.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Rumors of him being the next Bruce Wayne for James Gunn stuff.
Eh.
And then it was going to be about Damian Wayne, so it would literally be him like taking care of a kid. And I was just like,
Oh my
That's
gosh!
the
weirdest
Those had to have
typecast
been
ever.
jokes. Yeah.
It is a typecast, but he nails it. And the good thing is that it's not literally the only thing he does. Like I still
Yeah.
think about him in Star Wars. I still think about him in freaking no, not Star Wars. What was I thinking of? What? No, I don't remember. It wasn't Star Wars. Oh well, it'll come to me later. It's fine. It's not a big deal, but yeah, it is a kind of funny typecast. That's with Fantastic Four coming up, same thing. Kind of same energy at least. So it's funny though. Anyway, besides that, we finally got a trailer for the ThunderBOLTS movie, and it just, in a good way, screams classic Marvel. And for some reason, that's a good thing. Like I would think that's a bad thing, but for some reason, it really kind of takes me back to like original Avengers time, and I'm like, you know what?
Winter Soldier vibes.
Yeah, it is Winter Soldier vibes, and
Mhm.
obviously I love Bucky. I'll show up for Bucky any day of the week. I mean, come on. But it looks like it really is a pretty fun balance of like, they're all bad people. They know they're bad people. They're kind of trying to like do the right thing and like kind of redeem themselves, but they're still kind of prone to like messing things up and
The
like,
message behind it is
you
really
know,
cool.
and they want to try to do better, and there's worse people out there. That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But they're still not very good at the superhero thing. Like it's similar to Suicide Squad, but I like this idea. It feels way more compelling to me than, you know, Suicide
Yeah.
Squad. The whole thing is that they're villains, but the only reason they even try to do anything worthwhile or good is because they'll have, you know, bombs in their heads, literally from Amanda Walker, and she's also crazy.
Yep.
By the way. Whereas this feels way more natural of like, there's just a group of people who are very talented, very skilled at what they do, and they just kind of want to like try to maybe be better. Or there's like the
Yeah.
worst guys out there. Like they're bad guys,
Mhm.
maybe, but there's worse guys, and they can take those guys out. And I just think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And also,
And it
more
goes back to that
compelling-
idea that like, sorry, to your point, it goes back to that idea of like a villain's always the hero in their own story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like for all of them, they're like, we've
Yeah.
done bad things, but it's always been for a good cause. And so like, there's still that
Yeah.
redemption to them. Like, I still want to be the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so they're
definitely.
still trying for
John
that.
Walker, big time.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's cool, and I think the thing that actually helps is even if you haven't maybe seen all of the stuff that they were in, you still have the option to kind of go and see stuff they're in. Like when they say they've done bad things, you don't have, that's not them saying that. Like you've seen it for most of them. You've seen them do these things in the past. And so it's not just them, it's not lip service, right? It's not like a movie being like, oh, here's a bunch of misfits coming together. It's like, no, we've seen what they did in these shows. And I think it's easy enough to hop in for a lot of people, even if they haven't,
even
to get it. But I just think that's neat.
Like my mom and my stepdad have seen like some of the previous things that they've been in too. So it's like my mom watched Black Widow and stuff like that, and then like Falcon and the Winter Soldier with me. So it's like I know like we definitely know all these characters, you know, but I think it's gonna be really cool for some of the more casual audience too, and be like, oh yeah, I know some of them, you know, or like exactly. So I think that's gonna be a really good sell.
Yeah, I think it looks kind of fun. It could still be bad, but
it does look.
I don't know. I care more about this than like most of the other Marvel movies that have come out recently, which is kind of crazy to me. But
yeah,
that's just kind of how it is. I don't know. So
that's for a lot of people. Fun. That's how it is right now.
Yeah, that's true. It's like everybody was really freaking out about Deadpool. Not me, but everybody else.
Yeah. And
no, this kind of just feels like more. And again, if Bucky's there, I'll watch it. That's kind of my rule.
Yeah.
So I'll watch it. I love Bucky very much. So. Anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll get into TV then. I have one more episode of Suicide Squad Isekai.
Nice.
I'm kind of mad that I didn't finish it. I just thought about that. I'm almost done.
Oh,
that show's great. One of my favorite anime in a long time.
That's awesome.
Is goofy and ridiculous, and someone to take these characters go nuts. And
that's how I felt about Terminator, like, but for different reasons, obviously. Where I'm like, man, I haven't watched something that I've enjoyed that much in a long time. Like,
yeah.
So that's good. Like,
it is truly goofy. I think my only problem with it, the only problem I have with it is that Joker's English dub voice is not great. I don't want them to have done like a Mark Hamill. I don't think that would have been the right move, but I do wish they would have found like an anime voice actor that could do kind of a Mark Hamill a little bit better. I think that would have been really fun. Or something a little bit more crazy. I think Todd Haberkorn could have really nailed the role in a fun way. There's just people out there that could have done it. For sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, that show's good. And then the other show in the DC realm is The Penguin. Episode 1 is out.
Nice.
And my goodness, that show's good.
I need to watch
Good. Heck yeah.
So good. I don't watch a lot of gangster movies or gangster shows. Never watched Sopranos or anything. And so I don't know how it like matches up to those. But I'm so heavily invested, and it's crazy that Colin Farrell is the Penguin. And I said that when he was in the Batman movie.
Yeah.
But like, it does not feel like it needs the Batman at all. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's so weird that like Robert Pattinson's not going to be in this at all.
It really doesn't. Like, I mean, I've not seen it, but they don't need him.
Yeah, I think given if you watch the movie, it makes sense that he would be kind of in the background of the story anyways. And then something else that I really love that the writers were talking about, or maybe it was Colin Farrell, I can't remember, is that what's happening in this is so behind in the shadows right now that a Batman wouldn't really know about what's going on. It's probably not that big of a deal to him yet. And it's not it's so like deep into the criminal stuff. It's not on the surface level. And so Batman wouldn't have he's taking care of the surface level problems.
Right.
And trying to find, the big, when a city's about to explode, he's trying to stop things like that.
There's a lot of underlying chess pieces moving, basically, before the board even comes
into
play, kind of
cool.
That he wouldn't be super worried about. And it's all about, the Penguin's come up.
Yeah.
And I've only watched one episode. There's only one episode out right now. Super annoying. I'll throw this out here, HBO. I don't know what you're doing, but I look up. I'm so bad at this all the time. I always think the show is ready to release. We got everything set up last night, Sunday, to watch it, and it didn't come out, episode 2, because I Googled, and it said episodes come out on Sundays, and I was like, great. So we like cleaned the house. My wife cleaned the house. We got like ready to go, turn the lights off, get ready to watch this show, and it came out. The first episode came out on a Thursday.
Yeah.
They're skipping this Sunday
for the next Sunday,
and then it'll come out on Sundays.
Oh wow!
I guess so. There's more time to talk about the show.
Huh?
But like,
that gives me more time to watch.
Why? Yeah.
That is a bit weird for that gap. That gap is a little weird.
Yeah. So, and I think it was last Thursday. I don't even think it was like last Sunday.
It was last Thursday. And you know what? It's like if a show like Agatha can pop out 2 episodes back to back on a single night, like why couldn't they?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It is an hour-long episode. I will say that it was a longer one, which is nice. But no, really, really good. Except for their scheduling conflicts. I'm so bad with like, there's so many movies that I'm like, oh yeah, the movie comes out to digital today, and we'll go to look it up, and it does come out.
Sunday feels appropriate though, like because I think Sopranos was a Sunday show, if I remember correctly.
Okay, and so is The House of the Dragon. They're big shows that they people care about usually come out on Sundays.
That's true. Okay.
So I think that Last of Us came out on Sundays as well.
I think you're right.
But
yeah.
I don't think you need to care about DC to watch this. I want to throw that out there. I
That's
think if you like gangster movies, this will be like it'll be more important to like that than it will be to like DC.
I want this show like people to watch it and then ask me about it and be like, or give me the opportunity to be like, okay, go watch Batman then. You know, like if you like this,
yeah.
Now you just got to watch the movie.
Mm-hmm. I just told somebody to watch it recently, and I told them to watch the movie first. There's a very, you're watching some of the aftermath of the first movie.
That's true, yeah.
I don't think it's necessary to watch the movie to do so, but there is definitely some context that I'm getting.
I definitely want my stepdad to watch the movie, because we definitely were talking about the Penguin the other day, and I'm like, yep, you need to watch the movie.
I'm always so torn, on a tangent here, that, it won't be part of James Gunn's universe, and I love this version of Batman in that universe so much.
Yeah.
But I do get that it would be almost jarring to have this Penguin up against a Lex Luthor. It just sounds like
his universe is going to be such a different vibe than what this is going for, though.
Yeah, this is so grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Everything that's happening so far is stuff that could happen. I guess, kind of. It doesn't feel like a superhero thing at all. There's nothing fantastical about it. He's just kind of a dude in a suit, and then the Penguin is just a gangster with a hobble.
That's how it is.
Yeah. Great show, though. Awesome. Anyways, I think that's all that I've watched TV show-wise. Oh, and Rings of Power. I never know when I'm caught up and when I'm not. That show's good.
I never really thought about how many times they say Rings of Power in Lord of the Rings until I watched Fellowship again. Maybe it was literally only once or twice, but again, it was like the Bad Batch moment for me watching Clone Wars where they say Bad Batch and I'm like, oh.
I always think of that Family Guy clip where he's like, oh, they said the thing.
Yeah, they said the thing. They said Rings of Power. I don't remember, but I was just like, oh, there's a show.
They said the
thing.
Thought it was
funny. Yeah. Anyway,
that's cool.
That's not important.
Yeah, that show. I'm very pleased with season 2. Definitely won me over.
Nice.
Yeah, Shelley, what have you been watching?
I've been watching Ancient Magus Bride season 2, and we are about halfway through. It's a pretty long season. Season 1 was also pretty long. Most seasons are 12-ish episodes. This one. It's 24 episodes. It's super long for each season, so it almost feels like watching 2 seasons. But I like that because it's not intense. Well, it's kind of intense.
It looks intense.
It
looks nothing like Say Yes to the Dress, which is what I thought when I heard Bride.
No, it's an anime. Well, the premise is that it's interesting. I think I've talked about the show before, but it's been a while. So the premise, the original first thing that happens basically is this girl, Chisei, is horribly depressed. horribly depressed to the point that she basically gets herself sold at an auction, and a mysterious mage with like a skull face buys her. And she does it because she's so depressed she literally has no care as to what happens to her life. And this guy buys her, and she again doesn't care, but he basically teaches her how to be a mage and how to love life again. Like it's a very sweet dynamic. At first you may watch the first episode and get creepy vibes, because here's an instance of like a girl, like a literal teenage girl, basically being bought by this ancient mage with a skull face who it's not even clear if he's human or anything. And by the end of the episode, he's like, "I'm gonna make you my bride." Like that sounds like a huge red flag.
That's where the magus.
But as you learn, as the show goes on, it really is more. It's like there's no romance in the traditional sense. They have a very cool, interesting relationship. I would not label it as romantic though. Basically you learn that his definition of bride is not the traditional definition of a bride. He doesn't even understand emotions. He doesn't know what love is. He doesn't know what happiness is. He doesn't know what sadness is. So through teaching her how to like do magic and like showing her the world, she is able to kind of like learn how to love herself again, how to love life, and how to not be so terribly depressed, how to take care of herself, things like that.
Like a Cody show.
On the flip side, she kind of gets to teach him what it's like to be human and like what are human emotions. He'll be saying, what is that feeling when this is happening? Violet Evergarden. And my like stomach feels really twisted and all these things. She's like, "Oh, you're probably anxious." He's like, "Oh, anxious, interesting." So when you were in danger, and that's what I was feeling anxious and worried. That's what that is. Like they kind of get to like originally season 1 is very much focused on like she's kind of the student, he's a teacher, has to go through this magic stuff. And then season 2, it's funny. Season 2 becomes a magic school anime.
Oh, I remember you saying that.
They have a magic school arc.
Okay, yeah, I remember you saying
that. So she goes to school, and then the relationship kind of ends up changing a bit in such a way where like she ends up making all these other friends, and now he's trying to figure out like, what is it like to be a friend? What's friendship even? And like, do I even have friends? Should I try to be a friend? It's all very sweet. It's also kind of dark and depressing at the same time. Like I wouldn't call it a wholesome anime, but there are very wholesome moments, and a lot of stuff is kind of in service to help them in their relationship and their characterization. They have really good character arcs so far, in my opinion. But there's also kind of some nonsense that happens, and I wouldn't like. It's still pretty dark and depressing, and there's some like gore and stuff. So you do have to kind of be prepared for that, but. Cody, I think you would really like it. I really like it so far. But
that sounds like something I'd be into.
Yeah, I'm not done with season 2 yet, but I like it so far a lot. So
cool.
That's what I'll say. I don't want to spoil things.
Nice.
But, yeah.
What are you watching, LJ?
Yeah, so I'm watching a couple things. I feel like, I'm invested enough to where I feel like I've definitely watched more TV than played video games this week.
Wow.
So I did start watching Attack on Titan the week before, but now I feel like I've binged enough to where I'm like, okay, I've watched a whole season almost, and maybe quite a bit of season 3 as well. So I'm definitely in season 3. I don't know if I'm towards the end, but there's a lot of lore and a lot of things going on in Attack on Titan that I never saw coming, and it's really expanding things and everything you kind of think you know, which I like. I like because it's a concept that just like, oh, I'd be down to watch this as a show, and then they just take it to a whole nother level in season 3. I don't know what the last season technically is. I don't know how many seasons there are off the top of my head, but I'm excited. I'm hooked. It's getting wild. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The animation quality really, really gets a bump up in season 3. super high quality.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how much either of you have watched before, but
I don't remember where I stopped watching, but I remember the animation, like the art style changing.
Yes, and it gets such a big level up in quality. I know for the final season, they've been coming out with the final season part 1, part 2, and I'm just like, bro, like, how, like, is this even the final season anymore? Because I mean, again, I haven't got there yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing like how the show can get any more wild than it already has, because there's definitely been more reveals and things, which have been really exciting. So I'm hooked. I'm all in. Like, I'm invested. Where it's like I can't stop watching this because it would be dumb. The other show that I had been wanting to watch in the last couple of years, but Netflix finally picked it up, is the show Heels, and it started off as a Starz original, and I'm like, who's subscribed to Starz? Like, really? Like, I don't know anybody that's like, oh, I got a Starz.
I know 0 people.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know anyone.
And so, I don't know how Netflix got a hold of this. I know they have like a deal with Sony, and Sony has something with Starz, but I think Netflix actually picked it up. They didn't necessarily pick it up for a second season, but Stephen Amell has been, he's been on a podcast recently with this one guy that has like a lot of wrestlers and a lot of on his podcast, and he talked about Heels and about how Netflix just grabbed a hold of it, and he's hoping it does well enough, seasons 1 and 2, that they get another season, because I guess the way season 2 ends, I guess it totally, sets up for another season. And according to him, seasons 1 and 2 are almost one and the same, and I'm like, oh wow. Which I do like the pacing of the show. The show is really good, well paced. It's about, I guess I should get into what it's about a little bit. It's about these two brothers that kind of inherit, well, the one brother kind of inherits his dad's wrestling like organization in a small town called Duffy in Georgia, I believe it is. I think it's Georgia. I need to double check that, but it's a very small community, and wrestling's like a big thing. And usually after church on Sundays is when all the wrestling happens, and he's kind of the guy in charge deciding what happens with the script and who's wrestling who or whatever. He kind of takes on his dad's responsibilities because his dad is passed. Which I will say, there's definitely some major trigger warnings for some heavy themes in there. So I do want to put that disclaimer in there, and it'll tell you like before the episode starts, and it's like, we're going to be tackling these topics, which some of them I personally definitely resonate with. The one drawback to the show is it's one of those things where they feel like they have to have nudity and sex in there like almost every episode, and it's one of those things you can fast forward through pretty quickly. But what I do got to give the show props for is they do definitely have a lot of drama and a lot of things that happen between these characters. But I really love how these characters talk things out a lot. Which people in real life, like, I feel like these characters are so human, which I really appreciate the writing for. But in a lot of ways, I don't think people in real life just talk enough about what's going on or how they feel. And this show is really good about characters doing that and kind of hashing things out. That doesn't mean something else isn't going to happen in the next episode, because it surely is. But they're really good at like hashing things out and talking with each other, even if not everything gets said. But there are definitely things that do get said, and characters definitely make progress and things like that. I think it's a really well written show. It's really good though. It's good. Some really good actors in it. One of them, so Stephen Amell. I'm trying to remember who the brother was. He's actually in Vikings. I think he might play Bjorn in Vikings. I think.
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
Alexander Ludwig.
Ludwig.
He plays the younger brother Ace. And he's really good. Like, he's not necessarily the like most stand-up guy in the show, but like, to me, like, he plays this role so well. I haven't seen a lot of stuff that the guy's in, but it's really good. I recommend it. Like, even if you're like not that into wrestling, but you're kind of like familiar with it, like, I think it's still a really good show. Like, they definitely play with the idea of like, oh, isn't wrestling supposed to be fake? Like, or isn't it fake? And they're like, don't say that. And there's a lot of wrestling culture and things like that. They get totally right in the show. So it's like, clearly Stephen Amell and whoever else was working on the show is like big wrestling fans. And I think he's had his own appearances in WWE like once or twice, just as a guest for goofs and things. So it was really fun hearing about that show through this podcast thing I saw on TikTok, and then actually watching the show, and I'm like, wow, they do it so well. So, Yeah, it's really good. I recommend it, especially even if you just like Stephen Amell. Like, I mostly remember him from Arrow and just that not so great Ninja Turtles movie, but like
Casey Jones.
Yeah, and so, but he can like, I don't know, just Arrow is basics, CW stuff, so it's nothing really to write home about. I mean, he was good in that, but seeing him really act his butt off in this was really cool too. So I give them props, like major. So that's it.
Sweet. We will get into the TV news then. It's all Netflix. They had their Geek'd week.
It's so much.
What a transition.
Yeah. This is very much like just a small amount of what's going on. Things that I thought were big deals were Squid Game 2 trailer. That was one of those shows that I thought was perfect. I was like, don't make another season.
They could have easily left it, yeah.
I think season 2 looks good. I'm excited for it. I didn't think it would be. I thought it would be kind of like look milked, but
that was such a weird phenomenon. Like,
yeah,
was it? That was like later in like 2020, right? Or like around like later in COVID times.
Yeah, I know we were doing church at that point because we played.
Oh yes, I remember you telling that story. Yes.
I'm not gonna say which church I go to, although you could probably find it easily. For our youth group, we played the theme song to Squid Games during the kids, like the teenagers, playing a game.
That's hilarious.
And there were teenagers that understood it, and we were like, "You should not be watching this show."
I just remember that like we had Tiger King at first, and then this, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely the better quality thing that people should have been watching anyway, instead of Tiger King.
I was so hooked in Tiger King.
It was just one of those things. I think people had time to watch things, and everybody's like, "Oh, Squid Game, what is this?" And it got big.
Yeah. Yeah, Squid Game was very good. We watched it we were pretty late to the game watching it. But,
I think I was too.
So good. And then, exciting for me personally, Cyberpunk anime is getting. We don't know what it is. It's an anime project in Cyberpunk. It might be Edge Runners Season 2. It might just be another show, which is what I'm kind of hopeful for. It's just
another show universe. Would be
good. That's one of those. Cyberpunk's weird because like you say universe, but you really don't want stories to get together.
Yeah, like an anthology would be really good for Cyberpunk.
And yeah, you mentioned anthology. I think that would be great.
Like
or just an unrelated season to something else that's in that
city.
Right. I think would be cool.
That'd be sick.
We haven't even left Night City yet. I mean, you could get outside of that. I know.
Yeah.
I think Seattle is in
LA.
Cyberpunk. I think they mentioned Seattle.
Oh no, LA is
being still around.
There's Dogtown in the expansion in the expansion.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want more Cyberpunk. I'm totally fine with that. Note that if you're like hearing that and you go watch Edge Runners, that it is very rated R, enough so that I almost stopped watching it.
The game is very M too, so I think hopefully
hopefully
you know what you're getting into when we mention Cyberpunk as a property rather than like a genre.
Yeah, I've mentioned on the podcast before. I love that Cyberpunk on the surface is all about depravity. And so I think it's really easy to watch or play the game for a little bit and be like, wow, this is just like the least Christian piece of content you could possibly consume. But the story there, and as long as they keep doing this, I will keep appreciating it, is that depravity is what is ruining humanity. And so the story in the anime, not to give too much away, is that this depravity will destroy you ultimately. And that's basically the story of the game as well, is that the human need for greed and for just everything that we consume in our modern culture, the need for more of it is what will ultimately ruin us. But yeah, on the surface level, it's just like, oh, you can just walk into a strip club of like robot people and do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's definitely dark, but for, like you said, for a reason. I feel like. Yeah,
I think that's really cool of them to do. It's something they didn't have to do. I think Cyberpunk would have done perfectly fine just being another Grand Theft Auto situation where it's like that depravity is celebrated. I think it's really cool that in the end they demonize it.
Yeah,
a lot of fun. reminds me of Watch Dogs, which I know people didn't really care much about Watch Dogs, but there's a mission in Watch Dogs where you actually go into a strip club, and I was like, man, this game was like, I was able to stay away from most of the maturity in this game.
Yeah.
But you go into the strip club and shut down like a human trafficking ring.
Yeah.
Yes. And like broad awareness to human trafficking, and it was the coolest. I was just like,
yeah.
Like,
that's
hey.
so cool. It's so cool when they
cool
do something
like that,
with all this mature content, and actually bring out like a positive story, I guess, out of it.
Yeah.
Moral of the story kind of thing. But yeah, that's how it was. Cyberpunk. We don't know anything else. Like, it's the stupidest reveal. It's just it says return to Night City, and then it's the Netflix logo glitching out, and that's all you really get. It's a CD Projekt Red logo.
I guess while we're on the topic of like their animated stuff, after watching Terminator, I'm excited for some minor things. They added that Splinter Cell teaser, and then the Devil May Cry one. Like, I'm really excited for Netflix's anime projects. Like, they look like they got some good stuff coming up.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Speaking of animated stuff, I didn't realize that season 7 was season 7 already. I guess
that seems like it came up fast because I know you guys were.
Is that all the books? Were they? Because they were books in the beginning, right?
I don't know.
Do they call them books like they do in Avatar?
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah, Shelley would know.
I don't remember.
That's gonna bug me. I know it was like book.
Yeah, because they did have them
chapters.
Labeled, right? Like.
Yeah, and I was wondering how many they would need.
I watched like season 3 up to season 3, I think, and that was where I fell off. But yeah, no, because you guys were talking about like for a while. You're like, oh, we need more Dragon Prince, and then it's like, whoa, the final season's already here, or it's coming. Like what?
Yeah, so final season will be here December 12th. That's season 7, and hopefully it's good because it did have a bit of a lull. Last season was decent, but did not feel like the season before last. It didn't feel like a penultimate season to me.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, it was really good, but I guess I didn't realize that, like, it kind of needed to be. So
like if season 3
end of an
is
era.
where that peaked, I'm just kind of like, ugh, like.
Yeah. It's kind of like I don't know.
Or we just.
I always think of like I compare this to Voltron a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
I think it's because how fast the seasons come out.
Yep.
And Voltron, like every single time would get better. Like it would be a decent season, and then the next season would be even better. And I can't top that, and then it would just keep continuing to get better and better and better to me. And this show was doing that with season 1, 2, and 3, and then after 3, it kind of fell off.
I wonder if COVID's like.
I blame COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is all of the TV news. So we can end the podcast there. You guys geeking out about anything else this week?
Nope.
I just want to mention I finally finished reading Hero of Ages, which is the 3rd Mistborn book. So I finished reading the Mistborn trilogy, and I have lots of mixed feelings about it. Overall really good. Overall definitely worth it. I think for me, Mistborn 1 was one type of book, and Mistborn 2 and 3 were not that. Were different kinds of books. It's like Mistborn 1 was really good, and it did absolutely set up for sequels in an interesting way that I'm like, I do want to know what happens next. And so I did read what happens next, but now I'm just like, man, Sanderson, why you gotta do this? Yeah, I don't know. And maybe part of it too is just like, it's pretty obviously still one of his first major projects, right? Because Elantris was like his first book, and then I'm pretty sure the Mistborn trilogy was like his first major thing after that was like that trilogy. So I think part of that is there, but I definitely still recommend it overall, especially like if you're at all interested, like definitely at least read the first book, and then maybe after that, if you're still interested, read the 2nd and 3rd. But I'm already
Stormlight.
Yeah, I'm already seeing all the connections to Stormlight, which is crazy because everyone always says like, well, you could read Stormlight on its own, but like it has like if you read other Cosmere books, you'll like see these connections, and I'm like, okay, fine. Pretty exciting connections.
Wow.
I was it won't spoil anything, but I get it now. I didn't, but I get it now. But there's also an era too that it's funny. I started reading it, but I started reading the wrong book first. I thought Shadows of Self was the first book, but Alloy of Law, I think, is the first one. So I read the prologue and like first 3 chapters. It's not gonna spoil anything, you know. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll stop and I'll go back and read Alloy of Law and whatever. I'm gonna read Secret History and Warbreaker. There's so much. Will I be able to read it all before When Truth comes out? Probably not, but I will probably still finish it before I read it. Maybe. I don't know if I'll finish Era 2 by then, but I still would like to like read Warbreaker by then and maybe start Era 2. I don't know. There's too much, and the order confuses me, obviously, because I started with the wrong book. Because I don't understand the order at all.
Sanderson is a dang beast, is all I know.
He is, and it's intimidating, and it's crazy, and it's a lot. And also part of me, after reading here, it's ironic because I'm already like diving right back in. But I also kind of want a Sanderson palate cleanser. So I'm trying to figure out like other books that I would like reading, because I'll be honest, I'm not a good reader. Like I haven't read anything but Sanderson the last like couple of years even. Like I just don't read normally unless it's like manga or comics or whatever. Like I'll read that,
I'd
sure.
almost say I'm
but, like,
kind of in the same boat, honestly.
Exactly. Like as far as actively reading a book, like it's always Sanderson. And so it's kind of my fault. But I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, maybe I do like reading and maybe it doesn't have to be Sanderson. Maybe there's other things. Like I can still do that. I'm still interested in the Cosmere stuff. But it's a big commitment. And I don't want to just only ever read one author. That feels kind of weird. So figure out what to do about that. But anyway, I just wanted to announce I finally finished Mistborn Trilogy. And I overall do recommend it. The ending is just kind of interesting. And I think if you've read it, you know what I mean. But I won't say more.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We'll end the podcast there then. Shelley, where can they find you at?
Find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
And LJ?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram under LJ the Paladin.
And you can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. Remember that we are doing it live, the podcast live, next week.
Yeah.
At 6:30
Pacific.
Pacific time on Facebook. Yeah. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.
It's on!